That's okay. All right, let's do this one more time. Hi, guys. Welcome back to On About the podcast with a bookworm, a casual reader, and someone who can barely read. I am your host, Vale, for this book and for the next book, and I am joined today by Gabby and Sophie.
Hey.
It's like we haven't recorded in like 20 minutes.
Okay, we literally filmed a whole ass like banter before this, a 24-minute long banter. I have it saved, but I don't know how much we're gonna like what it actually recorded or not. So take two.
I know. Sadly, we're going to have to get into this because Sophie has class and Gabby has plans, and so do I. So we're going to have to go through this kind of quickly. We're going to go through the Quidditch chapter because there's not too much that happens anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we left off, it was Halloween, and the trio has finally become friends, which is what we've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
What Val's been waiting for.
What I've been waiting for. So, chapter 11 is Quidditch. The Quidditch season begins, and Harry's about to play in his first match against Slytherin to prepare. Harry borrows a book entitled Quidditch to the Ages from Hermione. Professor Snape then comes out into the grounds where they are, sees them, and decides that they are not allowed to have the book out of the school, like, itself,
Mm-hmm.
and confiscates it. Very annoying. Snape sucks. We've been through this.
We've been through it. Fucking Snape.
The trio notices that Snape is also limping, which is what Ron says, that he hopes that it really hurts him. Harry decides that he wants to go back or not go back, but go to Professor Snape and see if he can get his book back. He goes and sees that basically he's talking to Filch about the three-headed dog, and of course Snape sees that Harry's there, gets upset, tells him to leave. Harry's just like, can I just please have my book back? Like, that's all I want. Snape does not let him get it.
I know, like, it's the one time Harry's like, I want a book.
I know. This is why for the rest of his time at school he doesn't study. It's Snape's fault. He was traumatized.
It is Snape's fault. I blame Snape for everything. So bad.
I mean, honestly, it is all his fault.
You know what? Let's just take a moment, just a quick moment. Ladies and gentlemen, if Snape wasn't a bitch-ass poser, if he had tried a little harder, Harry would have been his kid if he wasn't so weird.
That is so true, though.
Yeah, and I'm like, in an alternate universe, Snape got his shit together, and he ended up being Lily's boo thing, and everything was fine, hunky-dory, sunshine, rainbows.
Yeah, if he wasn't like such a shitty person. All right, so Ron's like, hey, did you get your book back? And Harry's like, no, but guess what I found out? And he tells him everything that happened with Filch and Snape because Harry's a little snitch. He didn't learn snitches get stitches.
You know.
Because he's a catcher.
He's a seeker.
He's supposed to be that one.
Which is what we're about to find out about. So Harry and Ron and Hermione go back to their rooms. Harry's trying to go to sleep because he has a big game the next day and he's very nervous about it, but he can't sleep because he is so worried about Snape. The next morning is very bright and cold and Harry refuses to eat anything. Hermione's really trying to force him to eat something. He is not having it. Seamus is like, Harry, you have to eat just for us, man.
Yeah.
He's like,
why should I?
Yeah. Harry's a nervous non-eater.
That's kind of crazy. Like,
you think?
I think so. Because, I mean, at least for, like, growing boys, and at least for, like, the growing boys that I have been around, they're usually, like, bottomless pits when it comes to food.
Very true.
In fact, I think I know more men who stress eat than who don't eat when they're stressed, so...
Well, I mean, I don't think he was really well-nourished.
That's true. It does say in the book, though, that he would wait for everybody to go to sleep before he went to, like, get food. So, like, restrictive dieting, sure, you know, but, like, if it were me and I was stressed and all of a sudden I end up in Hogwarts, like, you better believe I'm feasting, like...
I know there's so much food, like, Harry, it's okay to eat now. Poor baby, he needs therapy.
Poor guy. Wizard therapy. We need to make those shirts.
That's a good one. That's another one. Write it down, Gabby.
Wizard therapy. We can make anything wizard.
Drink
Wizard.
every time Vale. Jesus Christ, let me speak!
Use your hand.
Oh yeah, the little. You have to click the hand to raise your.
Drink every time.
Drink every time Vale says they need therapy.
You're gonna be drinking a lot.
Should I get my alcohol right now? It's only 10. I can't start drinking.
It's
In the
only
morning.
10.
It's only 10. No, okay. We'll do one of these days. We'll record after 5. And we'll do like every time something. Either I say shut up or you need therapy or something.
Anytime we say wizard anything, we have to take
Wizard
a shot.
anything.
Okay.
Damn, we're gonna be dead by the end of that.
We are doing a drinking game for my book, by the way, which is 1920s, and I've already thought of the game, so you guys better have alcohol in your house. Like,
Well, I'm gonna be in Korea, so and soju is like $1, so I will definitely be having.
Sophie, I don't know what you're gonna be drinking, but you gotta be drinking.
Okay.
You should get the shot, the whipped
Wizard
cream
shots?
shots.
No,
Whipped
th-
shots.
those are fucking gross.
But at least you won't die.
They're fucking gross.
Which one? Buzz balls?
No,
No,
the
no, no.
whipped
They're
cream
called
shots.
whip shots.
Whip shots. The one that Cardi B.
Oh, dude, I've been wanting to find those. You know that they're sold out everywhere here?
Oh, I found a little trial, like little teeny bottle.
Oh,
They're
bro.
pretty good. Sophie didn't like it because she doesn't like very sweet things.
I do.
But I do.
I do. Yeah. Also, fun fact about Val. You would never know, but like Val's secretly like a sugar bitch. I remember Barnes and Noble, she would get a fat ass like cookie mocha frappuccino, the fattest fucking one that they have, and then she'd order a red velvet cake on the side and scarf the whole thing down.
Like she'd add 4 pumps of
Delicious.
like any syrup, like sugar, like
She would
like
be
the
like,
sweet-
I remember
sweet
she'd get
cream.
in line. Excuse me, can I have a venti mocha frap with extra mocha and extra chocolate and extra whip and extra?
Dude, you should see my order now. So I switched into a cold brew, but it's a
bitch.
vanilla sweet cream cold brew with 5 pumps of vanilla, an extra splash of vanilla like cold cream, like the what is it? The foam, like on top, and it's delicious.
Val,
Like I highly recommend it.
That should be a shirt. Your Starbucks order should be a shirt or a pair of socks. It's like one
Wizard
Starbucks.
order. Wizard
And
Starbucks.
I'm over here drinking a shot of espresso.
You are literally. I like that though. I think that people who like bitter things or who don't like sweet things, usually their personality is like fiercely different from mine. Because I love sugar. Anything salty or sugary, I'm like, give it to me.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love salt.
Oh,
I
yeah, like
eat salt.
Today I made myself a cappuccino, as seen on our story.
Mm-hmm.
I made myself a cappuccino and I put too much sugar.
Oh,
You're like
that sucks.
even now.
She put like an extra like 1
No,
spoon.
yeah. 1 spoon. That's I only put 1 spoon.
That's why.
That could never be me, guys. That could
Dude,
never
I put
be
3.
me.
I put 3 of agave.
I literally. Here I am with my coffee creamer, my pre-made coffee creamer, just a boop. Like,
Oh, dude, I used to love those, but apparently they're terrible for you, and that's not why I stopped. It's because my parents refused to buy them anymore.
is it because No, I'm sorry. I was trying to make it like a wizard joke. Never mind. We should just keep moving forward.
Anyway,
I'm gonna keep making a
there
wizard joke.
there will be more wizard jokes.
Yes.
By 11 o'clock, the whole school is in the Quidditch stands, and a lot of students have binoculars to look up close. And this is the first time we get a real look at how everyone is watching Quidditch, right? So Harry's looking, or they're not looking around. Harry's not looking around, but we're told basically that there's a banner that says Potter for President, and Dean drew a giant Gryffindor lion underneath it, which, wow.
President of what?
I don't know. I think they're just being like ironic or stupid.
It's just
you know,
like in general, because like if you say like Sophie for president, I don't think it matters
Yeah.
what context. I think everyone would be like, "Ooh, I'm kind of like the shit." Like,
yeah, like some people who are listening, they're like, Sophie's like, I'm taking a shot of espresso, and they're like, ooh, Sophie for president.
Sophie,
Like
yeah.
that's kind of like the vibe.
Slay girl, Sophie for president, Potter for president, slay.
Oh, and Hermione performed a tricky little charm so the paint flashed different colors. Hermione already showing that she's way better than everyone else at magic.
Showing Ravenclaw, quite frankly.
So they're in the locker rooms, Harry is, and the rest of the team is changing into their scarlet robes. begs the question, are they wearing pants?
I really hope so. I really hope so. Because I know for a fact that I'd be playing Quidditch.
Mhm.
Because I'm that bitch. Anyways.
Yes.
But imagine the chub rub.
Oh, bro. You know what? If I was like,
And the broom is between your butt cheeks.
oh, bro.
Oh,
If I was
ugh.
if I was Muggle-born going
No.
to Hogwarts and my mom's like, "What do you need for school?" I'm like, "I need a full set of Under Armour for when I'm going on my broomstick, like full on. Like I need a wetsuit,
I
bitch.
know.
Like I need a wetsuit,
Like those compression leggings, the Under Armour ones.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
the compression
That would be
shorts.
perfect.
I'm ready. It kills me the idea of like somebody showing up in the Quidditch like stadium to like rehearse or to practice, and it's like a girl with a fatty, and she has like Under Armour shorts on, and everyone loses their mind.
Wood clears his throat so that people will listen, and everyone, and this is kind of funny, and this is why I'm mentioning it. So he says, "Okay, men and women," said Chaser and Angelina Johnson, and women, Wood agreed. "This is it. The big one," said Fred Weasley. "The one we've all been waiting for," said George. And then they say, "We know Oliver's speech by heart." Fred told Harry, we were on the team last year." So apparently he gives the same speech every single time,
So
and
funny.
we memorized it. Love the twins. So Wood is very confident that they're going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "or else." I don't know what the or else is. Like, maybe we're doing laps, but like they're playing, so like how bad could it probably be?
I mean, he can still make them run.
That's true. But how is that going to help them?
How is that gonna help?
Stamina?
Bro?
Good punishments come from bettering your team.
Stamina. Like, imagine the core strength you have to use.
They should be doing a lot of like sit-ups or like planks.
Bro. Oh hell no.
6-hour planks, imagine.
Oh hell
Oh,
no.
oh
If
God.
core strength is what I need for Quidditch, then I'm not doing it. Because I hate abs.
Yeah, because like you steer with your body, right? And you have to be able to keep yourself up.
I thought it was like riding a horse kind of where it's like legs. Like it's just like how tight you can squeeze your thighs together to stay on
Dude,
the
imagine you'd be turning that fucking room into diamonds.
Sophie, I love that. Wizard diamonds.
That's how they're made. You didn't know?
That's how they're made. They last longer and they're quicker. So they go out into the crowd. Harry is extremely nervous, and he felt like his knees were going to give away, and the crowd was cheering extremely loud. Madam Hooch was refereeing, as like makes perfect sense. She's the coach, so I guess that's like her thing, and she has literally nothing else to do in this entire school. So
The gym teacher.
yeah. She says that she wants a really nice, fair game. They kind of doubt this because, like, the Slytherins are not that great. They mentioned the Seeker from the Slytherin team, so they're playing Slytherin in this first game, right?
Hmm.
Harry says that he thinks Flint looks like he had some troll blood in him, which is to say he's extremely ugly.
I
Maybe he
mean,
also smells. Absolutely rude. Harry, you're an 11-year-old. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees the banner that says Potter for President, and his heart skipped a beat and he felt braver. They get on their brooms. Harry gets on his Nimbus 2000. Madame Hooch blasts the silver whistle she has, and all of the 15 brooms go up into the air. So we get some commentary from, I believe, Jordan?
yes. This is one of my favorite little tidbits of Jordan because
Mhm.
this bitch, also in my mind, I read it as Angelina Jolie, but her name is Angelina Johnson.
Johnson.
And so this
Angelina
guy, he's
Jolie.
like, imagine you're trying to play a sport, Sophie, and you're literally you're putting your whole being into playing this game, and then you hear the fucking announcer on the thing, and the quaffle is taken immediately by Sophie Hyman of Gryffindor. What an excellent chaser that girl is, and rather attractive too. Like,
Jordan!
I'd be like, what is going on up there?
Professor McGonagall is like, Jordan, please.
Get your act
And he's
together.
like, it's Lee Jordan who is doing the commentary, which is really cool. Like his commentary is always so funny, so fun. We're gonna skip over most of the gameplay because it's kind of irrelevant. Basically, it's a really fast-paced game.
Mhm.
People are going back and forth with the quaffle. Harry is a little distracted watching.
Well, yeah, it's his
Let's
first
see.
time really looking.
Yeah,
at the
this
game.
is the first time he's ever really seen a Quidditch game, which honestly begs the question: like, do they not have like practice games? They just threw him in. He didn't even know how to play this game.
That's
They
so
were like,
true.
just get the snitch. That's it.
That's kind of like ridiculous. I wouldn't how would you have faith that you're gonna win when like your seeker has
no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I feel like they should have given him a better rundown.
Yeah.
Harry is playing again as Seeker, which means he has to capture the golden snitch. He spots it and is flying towards it when the Slytherin Seeker pushes him out of the way and is penalized.
Penalized.
Oh, also Hagrid came to watch, just
Aww.
in case you were wondering.
They weren't.
So, obviously the Gryffindors are extremely. That's so rude, Sophie. we love Hagrid on this podcast.
We do, but we weren't wondering.
We were wondering. I was wondering.
Val was
no, I'm
wondering.
just kidding. I already knew.
You knew.
Yeah, I knew. Okay. Everyone is super mad that he hit Harry. The Gryffindors are screaming. Everyone's screaming foul. Madame Hooch angrily spoke to Flint and ordered a free shot of the goalpost for Gryffindor.
Flint Lockwood.
But in all of this, obviously, the snitch disappeared. Dean is a Muggleborn, right? And he keeps on saying, send him off of the field, red card. And the wizards around him are like, what the fuck are you saying?
No era penal.
Si era penal. Then we go back to Lee Jordan, who is having a difficult time not taking sides. He's a Gryffindor, right?
Mhm.
So he says, so after that obvious and disgusting bit of cheating, Professor McGonagall screams at him again. I mean, after that open and revolting foul, Jordan, I am warning you. All right, Flint nearly kills the Gryffindor Seeker, which could happen to anyone, I'm sure. So a penalty to Gryffindor by Spinnet, who puts it away. No trouble, and we continue play. Gryffindor still in possession. Literally, Lee Jordan, underappreciated. I love him. He's so funny. But he's friends with the twins.
He is a real ass bitch. Let me tell you, he's very kitty girl pussy pop slay because I literally hear him and it's just like being so real that everyone's mad. Like,
yeah, like I mean, come on, that was a harsh penalty.
I love that. If I were an announcer, I totally would. But
Harry dodges another bludger. His broom suddenly gave like a frightful lurch. For a split second, he thought he was going to fall, and so he's like holding on really tightly. And he says that he's never felt anything like that. And then it happens again, and it's like the broom is trying to buck him off. Like think bull trying to buck someone off type of thing. So he's going back and forth, and this happens in the movie too, which we see. But they combine two Quidditch games together in the movies. So in this one, he starts to get like bucked off. Harry tries to control it, but it's just like not really working, and he's never heard of like the brooms doing this kind of thing, so he's very confused. He keeps on trying to turn back to Wood to tell him to call out a timeout, which I don't know how that would work. It doesn't really make sense. He realizes that his broom was completely out of his control, and he couldn't even turn it. He couldn't direct it. This poor little boy, he's 11, he's never played Quidditch. He's up in the air like a million feet. He's about to fall.
A million.
Lee, who was still commentating, suddenly notices, tells us the Slytherin scores, and then Hagrid mumbles that he doesn't understand what Harry's been doing, looking at him through his binoculars, and he says if he didn't know anybody better, he might have thought that he lost control of his broom. And then everybody starts pointing up at Harry. Like people start to realize that something is wrong, something is definitely not right. Harry is swung off of his broom. He's dangling from the broom, holding onto it.
Excuse me. Wait a minute.
So we're gonna go past it.
People notice
we
that
know
something is wrong. Something is not right.
So if it's wrong, it is not correct.
Oh yeah, but you don't have to like be like it's wrong. It's not right.
I think Karen. It's hilarious that everyone's like, "Oh my god, something's wrong," and the game they don't stop it. They're like,
no, they're like, "Okay, keep going. It's fine. No big."
Yeah,
that's literally like when an NBA player like breaks his nose on the basketball like court, and then they put him back in.
Oh yeah, they're like, "Go back. It's fine. You're fine."
Yeah, you're fine.
So Harry's holding on by one hand at this point, and Seamus is like, oh my god, something must have happened. Hagrid's like, no, nothing can interfere with a broomstick unless it's really powerful dark magic. And like, no kid would obviously be able to do that. Hermione takes Hagrid's binoculars from his hands and starts looking up at Harry. And instead of looking up at Harry, she's looking at the crowd. Ron is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I knew it. And they look at Snape. So she gives the binoculars to Snape, and Snape is standing opposite them, and he has his eyes fixed on Harry and is muttering nonstop under his breath. Yes, Sophie.
So they're Hagrid-sized binoculars, right?
Yeah.
So she's probably looking into one of them.
Wait, here, I'll give a visual. Wait, I'm like, wait.
Her whole head. head.
No, she's like this. She's like this.
Yeah, dead ass. Literally.
She looks like a little fly. So Ron sees that Snape is muttering nonstop under his breath. He's doing something, he says. And Hermione thinks that he's jinxing the broom. So Ron's like, what do we do? And she's like, I got this. Hermione, honey. Like, she just took off. So before Ron could say another word, Hermione disappears. The whole crowd is on his feet watching, terrified as Harry is swinging. The Weasley brothers have completely stopped playing, like, the game itself. They're beaters, right? So they're circling Harry just in case he falls off so somebody can catch him.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, on the other side, the Slytherins have taken the quaffle and they've scored 5 times without anyone even noticing. Ron is, like, muttering desperately for Hermione to do something. And Hermione had to fight her way across the stands to where Snape was. And she ended up behind him like a rope. She's so frantic, she didn't even stop to apologize to Professor Quirrell, who she literally knocked off his feet.
Ha.
And then she lights Snape's robes on fire.
Smart.
It took apparently a couple of seconds for him to realize, and then he obviously, like, freaked out. And then she scoops up the fire in a little jar that she had. So this is, like, a thing that is going to come up again. Hermione knows how to make this, like, fire that she can basically move around by putting it into a jar. It's really cool.
Aw.
That's so
Like
It's
that fire.
really cool.
It's Calcifer.
Dead ass.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing, but I couldn't think of the name.
That movie's so good, but there's so many plot gaps. Okay, continue.
That's
Yeah.
okay. We love it for what it is. Snape never knew what actually happened to him.
Hmm.
Basically, back up in the air, Harry was suddenly able to clamber back onto his room. Ron tells Neville to look because he's been sobbing into Hagrid's jacket because he was so terrified.
Oh, Ron.
Neville was crying.
Neville, sorry. I heard Ron.
Ron tells Neville to look up.
Oh, there you go.
Harry then starts speeding towards the ground and he catches the snitch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So he was speeding towards the ground and the crowd saw him clap his hands to his mouth as though he was about to be sick, which, I mean, given that he was like...
Dude, that would have broken his teeth.
I know, like, the way that it just, like it went
Yeah,
straight into
especially
his
'cause-
mouth. And I guess it went farther in because he coughed and then it came out. So,
That's literally vile. That's so gross to think about.
yeah.
Imagine
So
how
for-
many hands that snitch has been in.
None.
The-
Not a single hand, actually.
Why?
Every snitch is unique and made for the game. So every
Oh.
single snitch is different and new.
Oh.
I didn't know that.
And this is important for later on.
Mhm.
So you'll find out eventually why that's
You'll
important.
find out when you're mature.
So Harry picks up and he's like, I got the snitch. Everyone is confused. They're trying to basically say that he cheated, that he didn't catch it, he swallowed it.
Oh my god.
But it didn't even matter.
Got it with my
hadn't
mouth,
broken-
bitch.
Yeah, like, get on my level. Harry hadn't broken any rules, and Lee was shouting happily the results. Gryffindor had won by 170 points to 60. So the Slytherin team sucks.
Wait, how do you win?
You win by points
But, like, how does it stop?
with the snitch.
I think
When you catch the snitch, the game is over. That doesn't mean you win. It just means you caught the snitch and you get 150 points extra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so basically
Wait,
the way
how
the
did they- how
Quidditch
much-
rules work.
How much they win by? Did they win by?
They won by 170 points.
Wait,
There
no,
is
hold on. What was the score?
170 points to 60.
Oh damn.
170, and you get 60. So that means they get 150. 170 minus 150. Dude, Gryffindor sucks. They had 20 points. They were losing 60-20.
Oh man. No, I don't think they suck. I think that Slytherin is literally giving each of them concussions. Like
Oh,
they're running around fucking like hitting them in the head. That's horrible. That's so bad.
They win.
Love it.
Hagrid takes Harry back to his hut with Hermione and Ron, who tells Harry that Snape was putting a curse on his broomstick. Hagrid does not believe this, and this is a common theme for Hagrid, where he thinks that Snape is a good guy for some reason. And he's like, why would Snape try to kill you, Harry? It makes no sense.
Mhm.
Harry tells Hagrid about Snape getting injured by the dog on the third floor corridor.
Mhm.
Hagrid involuntarily reveals that the three-headed dog is named Fluffy and is
Aw.
his.
Aw.
And that was what and what the dog is guarding is a secret known only to Albus Dumbledore and a man named Nicholas Flamel.
Flamel. He's the guy who made the luck potion?
No,
No.
He's an alchemist.
correct.
He's an alchemist, wink wink.
Sophie has no idea what that
All
means.
of us are like,
I only know the Paulo Coelho book. I don't know any other context.
I'm dead.
That's the right context. That's the right context. The Alchemist.
Oh, but what does it matter?
So what does an alchemist do?
Magic?
In the Paulo Coelho book, what is the alchemist?
Well, he's supposed to turn lead to gold.
Right, and what else can they make?
I don't know.
Okay, well she'll find out and be like, oh. Again, Hagrid tells them that it's between Albus Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel, and at that point, he's like, I fucked up, because Harry's like, aha! So there's someone called Nicholas Flamel involved, is there? Hagrid's like,
Yes.
You little shit.
yeah, like, damn it, I did that to I played myself.
I mean, but what does that mean to him? Nothing.
So basically, it just gives them a little bit more. Bless you.
Thank you.
A little bit more to go off of. So Nicholas Flamel and Albus Dumbledore, which they have been mentioned in conjunction in this book previous. All right, so that is the end of chapter 11, guys.
Love
How are we
that.
feeling? It was
That
a
was
Quidditch
one chapter?
Yeah.
That was one chapter. It's because it was Quidditch and we had to restart, remember?
I'm gonna
So
use you, Gabby.
chapter 12, The Mirror of Erised, and Erised is desire, spelled back.
Ooh.
Oh, Gabby, I forgot you read these.
No,
Read the chapter
yours was
title.
really good. I needed you to do that one.
Okay, you'll do the next one.
Okay.
Christmas time! The reason that we like Harry Potter and why it plays every year during Christmas is because
Mhm.
Christmas happens in the Harry Potter world. So I guess they're Christian
That's
or
weird.
something. Right? Isn't that a weird thought?
They celebrate Christmas and Halloween?
Isn't it weird? Wait, isn't it weird because like the mom that didn't let her kids read the Harry Potter book and she wrote the Harry Potter and the School of Christians or something? Like, ma'am, it's okay, they're Christian.
Dear God.
They believe in God, I think, because Christmas.
Do you think there's Jewish wizards?
There must be.
Oh, I bet
They don't mention.
You know, I had a friend, Kat, actually, her parents wouldn't let her younger brother, who was about 10 or 13, around that age group, they were like, you can only read the first Harry Potter book, and you can read the rest when you're 17.
Oh.
Because they think that the themes are too intense for him to understand.
See, and that's kind of interesting because I think that as you're reading, so like say that you're starting with Harry, you're 11 and you're reading the first book. It's at the perfect level for you to understand the themes. Then you get to 12 and it gets a little more intense, 13, 14, 15, and as you're getting into 15, 16, and 17-year-old, you're dealing with harder, more intense themes. So that's it kind of ages well with you, like the series does. Like nothing inappropriate is mentioned in these books as you're going until you get to like year 6.
Yeah.
Then things are getting a little iffy there, which we'll talk about. I have thoughts. So the Mirror of Erised, right? So Christmas is approaching, and Malfoy begins to tease. Malfoy is beginning to tease Harry about having to stay at Hogwarts for the holidays because he doesn't have parents.
Literally, dick, like the biggest fucking asshole ever.
Like, shut up.
Oh.
No one asked your opinion.
See, but he's just always talking. It doesn't matter what he's talking about. He's always got to say something, like prissy little rich kid crap. Like,
dude, yes. Absolutely ridiculous. Harry is actually looking forward to spending Christmas away from the Dursleys, especially because Ron is also staying at Hogwarts. Which is weird because for the rest of the years that they're together, he does not stay. So, kind of a weird. I think it's because they were going to visit Charlie in Romania. And they, I guess, couldn't afford to take Ron, which is really sad.
Why don't they just make him small and hide him?
Yeah. Well, that's a good ass point. I'm like,
that's a really good idea. Why didn't they just like shrink him down?
Because they're white.
Then, like,
it is kind of silly funny.
I mean. So they're talking to Hagrid, and Malfoy's being a dick and saying like, "Oh, you're hoping that you can be the gameskeeper when you graduate, so that you actually have like a house."
Oh, that's so sad.
Really
like,
shut
the fuck up. Wait, who was he talking to?
Malfoy is talking to Ron.
Oh.
As if Harry wouldn't like sugar daddy him, if necessary.
Right? I would have if I was Harry. Like, there's a lot of times in this books where I'm like, Harry, you have so much money, just give them like 6 galleons. They're gonna be like, oh my god. Ron gets up and basically starts pulling at his robes, like, you know, like the little like thing that like men do for some reason. And of course Snape comes up and sees at that exact, tells Ron to let go of him. And then Hagrid says he was provoked, Malfoy was insulting his family.
Mhm.
And then fucking Snape is like,
Trevor.
be that as it may, fighting is against Hogwarts rules, Hagrid. 5 points from Gryffindor, Weasley, and be grateful it isn't more. Take points from Malfoy! Take points from Malfoy!
No,
like, I'm so mad.
Don't take points from anybody. Just like give Malfoy like
Give him detention.
Yeah, don't take points from anybody, but like make an example.
Oh my god, so angry. I fucking hate Snape. I fucking hate Snape. And so does Harry. Harry says that he hates Malfoy and Snape.
Love it.
Hagrid says for them to cheer up. It's almost Christmas. Get over it. Hagrid, you just witnessed. You just witnessed Snape being a dick, and you're just like, he's a professor. Like, fuck him. So now there's holly and mistletoe all over the Great Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Mistletoe.
So Hagrid asks how long until their holiday, and Hermione says it's just one. And then she says, it reminds me, Harry, Ron, we've got half an hour before lunch. We should be in the library. And Ron says, oh yeah, you're right. Hagrid is confused by this for obvious reasons because Ron in the library. He's like, why are you doing that? And stupid ass little Harry, oh, we're not working. Ever since you mentioned Nicholas Flamel, we've been trying to find out who he is.
That's so, like, why would he just blatantly just be like, oh yeah, by the way.
Like, Harry, honey, don't make him feel worse.
This is exactly what we're up to. This is what we're doing. And what are you going to do to stop us, groundskeeper? That's literally, like, the aura that he's...
Yes, he's straight up just say, he's like, what are you going to do about it? And Harry straight up says, like, we're trying to find out. You either tell us or we're going to find out, Hagrid. Like, they're blackmailing this bitch.
My god.
Hagrid says that he's not going to say anything, and he's like, Ron is like, fine, I guess we'll just find out for ourselves. So they have been looking for Nicholas Flamel and have yet to find really anything. They mentioned that he was in great wizards of the 20th century, notable magical names of our time, and he was also not in like important modern magical discoveries and a study of recent developments in wizardry.
Mm-hmm.
So they really just couldn't find him, and there's a lot of books, so they didn't even know where to start. They tried to look for him in like dark arts books as well, and just nothing was coming up.
Bum, bum, bum.
So they go to the library again. They find absolutely nothing. 5 minutes later, Ron and Hermione joined him, shaking their heads because he was kicked out. Harry was kicked out of the library. And they went off to lunch. Hermione asked them if they're going to keep looking while she's away because she is going home for the holidays because Hermione does have parents.
Yeah, who want her there.
And she says to send an owl if they find anything.
Aww.
Shade.
I know. Ron says, and you can ask your parents if they know who Flamel is. It'd be safe to ask them. And Hermione says, very safe, as they're both dentists. So the holidays began, and I love this scene in the movies. I love the Christmas stuff in the movies because it's just so cozy and nice. Like, it is my absolute life goal to have like a little library like that. Yes, Sophie?
Honestly, I feel like it'd be really interesting to see what Hermione and her parents talk about when she goes back.
Yeah.
How was school, honey? Good.
She's an only child, right? So she probably comes home and is like, oh, check it out. I can make this feather fucking fly a little bit. Like,
well, she can't do magic outside of school.
I forgot about that. I'm an idiot.
How will they know?
They have a tracking charm, basically, so whenever someone does magic outside of school that's like a child, it'll notify the Ministry of Magic and they can get expelled. So Ron decides that he's going to teach Harry to play wizard's chess.
Oh
it's
no.
wizard's chess.
It's wizard's chess.
It's barbaric. So it's very much like regular chess, except that the little pieces chase each other and like actually like you know they like kill each other off basically. Harry played with Seamus's chessmen because apparently you have to have your own set of like chess pieces to play. And he was not very good at it. They literally don't trust him either, so like he'll say like knight to e7 or something, and the knight's like, don't do that, like they're gonna kill me. So they don't trust his judgment at all. They're fighting back, talking to him, which was taken out of the movies. Kind of sad.
So
I thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this little, they're like, no, you stupid bitch, I'm not going there. So on Christmas Eve, Harry went to bed looking forward to the next day for the food and the fun because Harry was not expecting any presents. When he woke up early in the morning, however, the first thing he saw was a small pile at the foot of his bed. Harry's first Christmas present! Baby's first steps. So Ron says Merry Christmas. Harry scrambles out of bed and he puts on his bathrobe and he says, Merry Christmas. And he's like, I got presents! Like, he's so
Oh, my
excited.
bebé.
I'm gonna
Rosita.
cry. I'm gonna cry, poor baby. And he's like, Ron says, what did you expect? Turnips?
That's also very rude. Like, you don't know his struggle. Like, what did you?
It's because Ron is so used to, like, presents,
Yeah, something.
even though he's poor. And Harry, even though he's not technically poor, like, he's used to, like, receiving socks
Mhm.
at the most. And, like, ugly socks. So Harry picks up one of the presents, and it's in a thick brown paper, and on the in, like, a scrawled handwriting, it says, to Harry from Hagrid. And inside was a wooden flute
Love
that
that.
he whittled himself.
So cute.
Right? It's so cute. Harry blew it and it sounded a bit like an owl, he says. So it must be like really well done. Then there was a second, very small parcel. And this is from his aunt and uncle, and it says, we received your message and enclose your Christmas present from Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia. And on the top, taped to the note was a 50 pence piece, which is like 50 cents.
Honestly, you want to know something? I think that is kind of nice that they even bothered to send anything. And the fact that they even wrote a note, like, I know that we don't like the Dursleys. Why would we? They are dicks.
Mhm.
But they could have just, like, radio static silence and not sent anything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
might have been better in some cases.
I wonder if it's more Petunia than it is Vernon. I wonder if, like, she's like, oh, God, I hate him. But, like, he's not
Let's do
here.
something.
I bet you
Yeah.
when he's gone, they low-key kind of miss him. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah, because he was the slave.
Yeah, he's the punching bag,
Well,
so.
I think that. Well, yes. I mean, then there's me trying to like find a bright side. I'm like, maybe in like like the confines of her heart, she's like, he kind of looks like my sister a little bit. Like,
I think there's a part of Petunia that does think about that
yeah,
and sees, the eyes, but also sees James, kind of the way that Snape sees both Lily and
yeah.
James, but only sees James and so treats him like shit.
Because it might be more kind of like resentment because, because of this kid, essentially, her sister was murdered.
Though, if we're being honest here and we find this out later, they didn't really talk
Mm.
at all. Petunia did not care for her sister whatsoever, so I don't know. It's complicated, I think.
Mhm.
Definitely complicated. Ron shows a little bit of his like Weasleyness where he resembles his father in that he's fascinated by the 50 pence like little coin. He's like, well, this is such a weird shape. Like, is it money? And Harry's like, you can keep it. Like, it's fine.
Hmm.
Um,
Me with any like foreign currency.
yeah, I still have like money from London because I thought it was cool.
I wanna see your one. I haven't seen your one.
Yeah, they're in my drawer. I'll show you later if you want. But I got one, and it's such a funny number because like we're not used to like the conversion, right? So like 1,000 is a
Oh
million.
my god.
Yeah, so like if you convert like $1,000, it's like a million something, and people and like even the bank teller when she was looking at it, she was like, "How do I count this?" Like she was so confused. So Harry's really confused about the fact that basically there's the two gifts, right? So Hagrid sent him one. He's like, that makes sense. And then he's like, this is my aunt and uncle's. So who are the rest of these presents? Oh, and this kind of like hurts me a little. Ron points out one and he says that it says that he turns pink and like the tips of his ears like turn red because he's
Aw.
embarrassed. And he's like, I think I know who that's from. I think my mom sent you a present and it's a little lumpy
Aw.
and stuff. Like the parcel's a little lumpy and he says, I told her you didn't expect any presents. And he's like, "Oh no, she made you a Weasley sweater." Which,
Oh my god, it's so cute though.
dude, she spent her time actually like
Knitting?
magic knitting,
Ah.
wizard knitting.
Wizard knitting.
Harry tears open the parcel and finds a thick hand knitted sweater in emerald
Oh my
green
gosh.
and a large box of homemade fudge. Like that's so sweet.
That
Miss Weasley
is.
is everything. So Ron says every year that she makes him a sweater, and it's and his is always maroon. Harry says that it's really nice of her, and he starts to eat the fudge, which he says is really tasty because Miss Weasley is famous for having really good homemade food.
Oh, I can imagine.
The next present also contained candy, a large box of chocolate frogs from Hermione, so Hermione also got him a gift. Like,
Aw.
Harry, you have friends now. And there was only one parcel left, and it was very light. So he unwraps it. Something fluid and silvery went slithering through the floor. So it's like a very like heavy, silky fabric.
Oh, is that the cloak?
Which cloak?
The only cloak
There's not one cloak.
The
that
only
is important.
You missed a wizard pun, a wizard
which
joke.
one was it? What was it?
Wizard knitting.
Wizard knitting.
Oh, that one's good. That's a good one.
Yes. So, because Mosley, Molly was wizard knit sweater.
Weasley.
Oh man, I made that hard for myself.
That's okay.
Mosley.
Ron gasps and he says that he's heard of these. And then he drops his Birdie Bots every flavored beans that he'd gotten from Hermione and says, if that's what I think it is, they're rare and really valuable. And Harry's like, what the fuck is this thing? So Harry picks it up and it was strange to the touch, like water woven into material. So again, very silky and soft and kind of like heavy-ish. Ron says that it's an invisibility cloak, and to be sure, he should try it on. Harry throws the cloak around his shoulders, and Ron yells, and he says, "Oh my god, look down!" He's like really excited about it. Harry looks at his feet, and then goes to a mirror, and sure enough, his reflection looked back at him, but it was just his head suspended in midair. So this is very similar to the movies, which
Is there only one invisibility cloak?
there's multiple invisibility cloaks.
Mm.
This is just like the invisibility cloak. So there's a note. Harry pulls off the cloak and grabs a letter, and written in narrow, loopy writing that he's never seen before are the following words. Gabby, please read this. You haven't read anything this
Oh
chapter.
yeah, which one? The note that they wrote on the thingy?
Yes, ma'am. Page 202.
I got you. I get all warmed up. Your father left this in my possession before he died. It is time it was returned to you. Use it well. A very merry Christmas to you.
That sounded really good with the mic.
Yeah.
And there
It
was
really
no
did.
signature.
Correct.
Okay,
There's
but
no signature.
who actually got it for him? Give it to him.
Dumbledore.
Oh.
Oh really?
Oh my god, that's so cute. That's so funny. That's so
Yeah.
funny that his handwriting's all like curly.
Loopy. Yeah, and it's kind of here. You can kind of see it.
It's like
No. You have the worst camera quality right now.
Okay, well, regardless.
Abby, you show me, please.
oh yes, I got you. Okay, so this is kind
Thank
of
you.
what.
Oh, that's how I write. Nice.
Fred and George are also at the castle, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Harry is very excited about this. Ron is like, oh my god, I would love an invisibility cloak. But before they could say anything else, Fred and George walk in, and Harry hides the cloak. Fred and George walk in, and they're like, Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh, you got a Weasley sweater too. Yeah. So they have their own sweaters, and one is wearing a blue. They're both blue, and one has an F and a G.
Mm.
And then Fred says, well, Harry's is better than ours. She obviously makes more of an effort if you're not family.
That's so
Which,
funny.
shut up. Your mother sat there and knit y'all sweaters. Be grateful. It's so hard to knit a sweater.
Exactly. It's
so difficult. I've made one, and it was pretty good. And the other one turned out like crap. So, be grateful. George demands for Ron to put on his sweater and that they're very lovely and warm.
Aww.
And Ron says that he hates maroon.
He's in Gryffindor. That's kind of stupid, but okay. I'm like.
Oh, and then George points out that there's no letter on Ron's, and he's like, I suppose she thinks you don't forget your name, but we're not stupid. We know we're Gredenforge.
Oh my god.
Percy walks in, so Percy's also here, and he's disapproving. He's clearly also halfway through unwrapping his presents, and he's also carrying a lumpy sweater over his arm,
Aww.
which Fred took. And there is a P on it for prefect. And he's like, oh, put it on. We're all wearing ours. Even Harry has one. Percy doesn't want to put it on, little bitch.
And they forced him anyway.
Yep. They literally force it over his head, and they knock off his glasses. And they're like, Christmas time is for family. Love the twins. I fucking love the twins.
I want to read the Christmas dinner, if I can, because it's one of my favorite descriptions in the entire book.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Okay, so they go downstairs, they're gonna eat or whatever. They do like stupid shit, right? Listen
Yeah.
to how good this sounds. Like, oh my god. Harry had never in all his life had such a Christmas dinner. 100 fat roast turkeys, mountains of roast and boiled potatoes, platters of chipolatas, turns of butter peas, silver boats of thick, rich gravy and cranberry sauce, and stacks of wizard crackers.
Wizard crackers.
Wizard crackers.
Oh my god, that was right. That fell right into our lap. Harry and the Weasleys spent a really good afternoon, and they like had a snowball fight on the grounds. And Fred and George actually charmed snowballs to hit Quirrell in the back of the turban. Voldemort's there, so Fred and George got snowballs thrown at Voldemort's face.
I love them. I love them.
Completely on accident. So Ron ate a full turkey and a cake.
Fatty.
He's a growing boy. Leave him alone.
Dude,
He's like 6 feet tall already at
do
11.
you know how much fucking like they have that thing?
So
Turkey
much.
has that thing that makes you like chubby
Oh
and
yeah,
sleepy.
the sleepy. Yeah.
So he ate a whole turkey.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's
He knocked himself out.
A whole turkey.
Later on, Harry did not knock himself out. So he's really excited about this cloak because it was something that his father owned. He had to try it out. He really wanted to. So he slips out of bed in the middle of the night and puts the cloak around himself, looking down at his legs. And he only saw like a shadow, kind of. And it's a funny, weird feeling. He keeps on thinking of the term, use it well. Suddenly, Harry's like extremely awake. And he realizes that he can go around Hogwarts at night with his cloak, even though they're not supposed to be out of the dormitories, right? Walks out. Ron is grunting in his sleep. Right, so he walks out. The door opens, the fat lady's portrait, right? And she's like, who the heck is it there? Like, she doesn't see anything. He's like, ooh, where can I go? What can I do? Like, he's really excited about this. So he decides to go to the library to look for Nicholas Flamel. And that way he can go into the restricted section. When he gets there, it's pitch black and very eerie, which I'm assuming it might be. Harry tried to light a lamp to see through the rows. And he said it's really weird because it looks like the lamp is kind of floating in midair, even though Harry could feel his arm supporting it, so he can't see himself either.
Ew.
Ew.
Oh, excuse me. So the restricted section is at the back of the library. He's stepping very carefully, and he goes over the rope. He had to start somewhere, so he basically puts the lamp down and starts looking through all the books. And then he opens one, and like in the movie, he opens it, and it starts screaming at him. Harry obviously snaps it shut, and he stumbles backwards and breaks the lamp.
Of course.
So he was there for all of 5 seconds before Filch comes in running, and he's pale, and he's looking around, looking straight through him, because he still has the cloak. He slips under Filch, and then runs up the corridor, and his ears are ringing. He comes to like a sudden halt in front of a suit of armor that he had been so busy getting away from the library, he hadn't even paid attention to where he was going, so now he's lost. Which is, I mean, relatable. There's a lot of rooms and hallways at Hogwarts, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hears, Filch is basically telling a professor that he heard someone must have been out of bed in the restricted section. Harry felt like his whole face drain. It was Snape who replied that they can't have gone that far and that they could probably catch him. Harry is basically like rooted to the spot. He's trying not to move, but it was a really narrow corridor, and they would knock right into him if like they walked past him. He tried to back away quickly, and there was a few seconds where sorry, it's because like I don't know why, but like my brain is malfunctioning a little.
I know you're fine. Okay, wait, I'm gonna say really quick, you know who I always thought you should have gotten with, Val?
Oh my god. You know, I saw him at the university the last time I went. He didn't see me.
I truly think that he was into you.
I don't think so.
I have videos of him staring at you.
Shut the fuck, you're joking.
I have videos of him like you're talking and he's just like,
no, he's just like a nice guy.
Okay, shut up. There are no nice guys.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree too, Sophie.
great guy. Love him.
Hate him.
But I don't think he ever had any like romantic interest in me.
Bro, I think you should do it. Go.
Anyway. So Harry goes into an unused classroom basically so that he can hide, and he realizes that there are like a bunch of desks and they're piled up against a wall, and that there was an upturned wastebasket, and propped up against the wall facing him was something that kind of didn't seem like it belonged in the room. So it was a big giant really beautiful mirror that was there that had an inscription. Do you want to read it, Gab?
Oh dear God, this is like Latin though.
Yeah, have fun
This
with
is
that.
like bad Latin too.
You don't know Latin, Gabby?
No, I don't
You
know
How do you
Latin.
not know
Oh
Latin?
my god.
You were supposed to learn for this book.
Erisned
Irish.
stra ehru oit ub kafru oit on woshi.
You sound like a
Woshi.
Sims. Wait, read it again like a Sims, please.
Literally on the
Please.
How do I do it?
Like a Sims.
Like a Sims.
Okay, well-
Like a Sims character.
Yeah, articulate certain like
Words more.
accentuation.
Esrid stra ehru oit ube kafru oit on woshi.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Harry's panic is a lot less now. He's chilling. He's in an empty room and he's breathing very fast. As he turns to the mirror. Obviously, there was a reflection there, and he notices that he looks very white and scared. Okay, Harry, we get it. You're white. Harry's looking over his shoulder, but there was nobody there. And he's wondering if all the people that he's seeing, because he's looking in the mirror and there are people behind him, and he's wondering if they're also invisible, and somehow the mirror can see them.
Mm-hmm.
Next to him, there was a very pretty woman. She had dark red hair, and her eyes are just like mine. Harry thought.
That's so funny because in the movies his eyes are blue.
I know! And then Lily's are brown! So he goes a little closer and sees that they're bright green and exactly the same shape. But then he notices that she was crying and smiling, but crying at the same time.
Aww.
There was a tall, thin, black-haired man standing next to her, and he was putting his arm around her, and he was wearing glasses. His hair was very untidy, and it stuck up at the back, just like Harry's. Harry was so close to the mirror now that he was basically like touching his nose to it, and he just whispers, "Mom? Dad?"
Oh no! Oh my god!
Dude, Sophie's nose are the funniest.
Yeah, no.
No, you should have seen a couple of days ago. So we got caricature. We got a caricature done in San Antonio when we went, and we left it in my friend Kayla's car. Kayla, we saw her at Topgolf, and basically she's like, "Don't forget to remind me about the drawing." And basically we leave. She calls and she's like, "Hey, you guys forgot the drawing." And Sophie says no, and it sounded exactly like Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I was sobbing because it was so funny. And like my friend Danielle was in the car and she was also laughing hysterically. Like we couldn't stop laughing for like a solid 30 minutes.
That's funny though. Like,
yeah, Sophie's nose are my favorite. So they're looking at him smiling, and slowly Harry's looking into the faces of the other people in the mirror, and he sees other pairs of green eyes like his, noses like his, even a little old man who looked as though he had Harry's knobby knees. And Harry was looking at his family for the first time in his life. In the movie, this changes where it's just Lily and James, but in the book, it's his entire family. Which is so sad.
It's devastating, because what he wants is big family. That's so sad.
Which is kind of great because he marries into the Weasleys and they're a huge family.
Gigantic fucking family.
It was perfect. It's perfect. The people who want Harry and Hermione to end up together, you suck. You're wrong. Yeah. Including J.K. Rowling. You are incorrect. So the Potters were smiling at him and he was just kind of like staring. He just doesn't even know what to do. He's pressing his hand against the glass. And there's like this really strong like ache. Like just this longing.
Oh my god.
Half joyful, half terrible sadness. And he couldn't even tell you how long he stood there. And then he says, "I will come back," and leaves. He goes back, tells Ron everything that happened. He says, "You could have woken me up." And he says, "I would love to see your mom and dad."
Oh.
And then Harry says, "I want to see all your family too. I want to see all of the Weasleys." Like, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry.
Oh.
Oh my god, this poor little boy. I am crying. Why?
Oh, Val.
I feel so bad for him. No, when we get to Fred at the end, I'm gonna be
Oh
sobbing.
my god.
I was listening to someone just talk about it and I was sobbing. Ugh. And he says, uh, you can see them anytime. Just come around my house this summer. So this is his invite to go with the Weasleys.
Oh.
And then he says, maybe it only shows dead people.
Mm.
And then he said, well, it sucks that you didn't find anything about Nicholas Flamel.
Mm-hmm.
Harry couldn't eat. He had seen his parents, and he was going to see them again tonight. He completely forgotten about Nicholas Flamel. It didn't seem important to him at all anymore because he found, like, his family.
Oh.
And he's like, what does it matter if, like, Snape takes whatever the heck is in there? Like, is that really a big deal? Everyone says, hey, are you good? You look kind of weird. That's kind of the end of that. Then we skip over. Harry basically was scared that he couldn't find the room again, but he's taking Ron this time, and he's like, dude, I'm so cold, let's go back. And Harry's like, no, bro, it's here, I swear.
No, bro. You got...
He said that verbatim. He says, no, bro, we're not going back.
Bro. Do you think that
Bro.
wizards every once in a while, because there's no, like, muggle-born wizards, do you think they'll take, like, muggle slang?
I doubt it.
I hope so.
Maybe, like, if they, like, friends with, like, muggle-borns in that kind of way.
That's literally what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe. There's a headcanon that Ron, after he got married with Hermione, learned a bunch of muggle stuff just to impress her parents.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because...
Like, to drive and stuff.
To do taxes.
Okay, so Harry... Oh my god, that would be so good. Like, you walk in, it's like, I can do your taxes. Like, wow.
I have a Costco card. I have a Costco membership.
Whoa.
Dude, most impressive thing a guy can have.
So Harry basically says, like, no, it's here somewhere. He finds it. They go in. And Harry says, look. And Ron's like, I don't see anything. And he's like, look at all of them. There's loads of them. They're all right there. Like, how can you not see? And he says, I can only see you. He says, okay, look at it properly. So he stands out of the way, has him stand in the middle. And then Harry steps aside and starts to point people out. He's wearing paisley pajamas, by the way. Ron is wearing paisley pajamas.
Of course he is.
And then he's looking kind of transfixed at his own image. And he says, look at me. And Harry says, can you see your family standing around you? And he says, no, I'm alone, but I'm different. I look older and I'm head boy. Harry's like, what?
He wants to be head boy.
He has a big head. And he says, I'm wearing the badge like Bill used to, and I'm holding the house cup and Quidditch cup. I'm Quidditch captain too. Ron then looks away and he's extremely excited.
I know.
It's because, okay, look, Ron is the last boy in a long line of boys. Molly wanted a daughter. He got that with Ginny.
Oh.
All of his brothers are better than him. Bill is a curse breaker. Charlie works with dragons. Percy is a bitch, but you know, he's like head boy eventually, and he's a prefect. Fred and George are extremely funny. What does Ron have? This is the beginning of his, like,
Ron is
issues.
friends with Harry Potter.
Okay, but that doesn't count yet. He says, do you think this shows the future? Do you think it could tell the future? And he says, I don't know how that would work because my whole family's dead. He says, let me have another look. And Ron's like, you had it the entire night. And he says, you're only holding a Quidditch cup. What's interesting about that? Let me see my parents. Like, and they're like, don't push me. They're like arguing, fighting. And then they hear noise. And then they get back under the cloak and they see Miss Norris. They're a little worried because they weren't totally sure if the cloak worked on cats. Mm-hmm. Like, can the cats see them? Finally, she leaves, and they're like, you know what? Let's just go. I'm sure that she went to get Filch. And then Ron pulls Harry out of the room because Harry doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Time skip. The snow had not melted the next morning. Ron asks Harry if he wants to play chess. Harry's like, I do not want to play chess. Like, do you want to go visit Hagrid? And he's like, no, you can go by yourself.
Fuck you.
And then Ron says, I don't know what you're thinking about, Harry. That mirror, don't go back to it tonight. Harry says, why? And he's like, I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about it. And you've had too many close shaves already. Filch, Snape, and Miss Norris are wandering around. So what if they can't see you? What if they walk into you? What if you knock something over? Mm-hmm. And then Harry brilliantly goes, you sound like Hermione. He's like, I'm serious, don't go. But Harry did not listen because everyone goes, Harry, no. And Harry goes, Harry, yes.
Literally.
The third night, he found his way much more quickly because he finally started to remember where to go. When he got there, nope, he didn't meet anyone. So there's his mother and his father smiling at him again, and his grandfather kept nodding happily.
Can he talk to them?
No, he's just kind of sitting there, like, and they're looking at each other.
But they can't talk.
No, I don't think so. Harry sat down on the floor in front of the mirror, and there was nothing stopping him from staying here all night with his family.
Oh,
Poor baby.
God, heartbreak.
heartbreak.
Except, so back at it again, Harry. Harry felt as though his insides turned to ice. He looked behind him. Sitting on the desk by the wall was none other than Albus Dumbledore.
Oh my god. I would have
Harry
literally,
freaks
like,
out.
in that moment, I would have just started begging. I would have been like, please don't send me away.
No, for real, like, the way that he stands up and he's like, I didn't see you.
I'm weak, fucking Harry.
Dumbledore says that it's funny. Isn't it strange how nearsighted being invisible can make you?
Mhm.
Harry's kind of like, oh, okay, he's smiling. I'm not in trouble. It's okay. So he says, you, like hundreds before you, have discovered the delights of the Mirror of Erised. And he's like, oh, I didn't know what it was called. He says, well, I expect you've realized what it does by now. He says, well, it shows me my family, and it shows your friend Ron as head boy. He says, how do you know that? And he's like, I don't need a cloak to become invisible. Like, you dumb bitch, I'm the most powerful wizard of all time. So Harry, he's like, do you know what it does? Now you can think of the Mirror of Erised shows us all, like, what does it do? Tell me, Harry. Like, be
Oh my
smart for
god,
once.
he's like you. Just fucking tell him.
That's not how
Dumbledore.
you learn.
Just
That's not how you learn.
I'm
You
weak.
learn by asking
He has
questions.
no context clues.
That's true.
Because Harry's stupid.
Harry's a muggle.
Harry's
Essentially.
not a muggle.
Essentially, like he was raised a muggle.
Okay, but
Spence does
it
not
shows.
know.
So Harry's standing in front of him, right? In front of the mirror, and he sees his family, which is something that he desperately wants.
Mhm.
And Ron, it shows Ron him being better than all of his brothers. So you can assume that it shows something that you want. That's what he's trying to say. So Harry shakes his head, and he's like, let me explain. The happiest man on Earth, the happiest man on Earth would be able to use the Mirror of Erised like a normal mirror. That is, he would look into it and see himself exactly as he is. Does that help?
Mhm.
Harry thought, then he said slowly, it shows us what we want, whatever we want. He says yes and no. It shows us nothing more or less than our deepest and most desperate desires of our hearts. So for Harry, that would mean his family. And for Ron, who has always been overshadowed by his brothers, sees himself standing alone,
Aw.
the best of them all. But he says that the mirror will not give them truth or knowledge. Men have wasted away, entranced by it, not knowing if what it shows is real or even possible. And then he tells Harry that the mirror will be moved tomorrow, and he begs him not to go looking for it again. And he says, why don't you put that admirable cloak back on and go to bed? Harry stands up and he says, sir, Professor Dumbledore, can I ask you something? He says, obviously you've just done so.
Oh my god.
Dumbledore smiles. You can ask me one more thing, however, he says. What do you see when you look in the mirror? And he says, I see myself holding a pair of thick woolen socks.
Aw.
And Harry stares at him, and he's like, you can never have too many socks.
He's so right. I fucking love socks.
I do too.
Right?
Like
I made one sock.
For one of my birthdays, my friend Kat got me these awesome flying llama socks.
Aw.
They're pink, they're llamas, and they had like wings, like
Mhm.
coming out. Oh my god, they're so cool. Thank you, Kat, for
Thanks,
those socks.
Kat.
He says that that's another Christmas another Christmas has come and gone, and he didn't get a single pair, and people insist on giving him books. And now,
I'd make him so many socks.
no, for real, like, I would be, if I could knit like Molly, what are you doing? Knit him some socks. Dumbledore would love them. So Harry kind of feels like that he's not totally telling him the truth, but it was back when he was in his bed that he was like, yeah, that probably wasn't it.
He's so
That probably wasn't what he was
stupid.
saying. We do find out in, I think, Crimes of Grindelwald that Dumbledore sees Grindelwald.
Whenever, yeah, the gay lovers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one-sided.
Yeah, I think we'll see. Hopefully, like, it'll tell us in the movies.
You know what I think it is? I think that Dumbledore loved and Grindelwald lusted.
Maybe.
And I think that that's like the difference. One is pure and one is just rooted in like evil.
Yeah, that makes sense. So finally, he shoves the thought away, takes Scabbers off his pillow, and he says that, like, it was a personal question, so he understands if he had lied. And that, boys and girls and NBs, is the end of chapter 12, and sadly where we will have to stop.
Totally fine.
Yes. Next time we'll see if we can get through more chapters, because I don't want to do like one singular chapter at the end, but we'll see how we break it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you had a good time. This would have been a much better episode had we had the beginning. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But join us next week where we will be going on about, hopefully, chapters 13, 14, and 15.
We can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
there's
we
a
can get
total-
through all 5.
Yeah.
How many chapters in total?
We have 5 left.
5?
That's not too
I don't
bad.
think we can get through all 5.
We might, depending on how short or long they are.
Mhm.
Because, like, this is all that's left of the book. Look, this. So,
I think we just gotta, like, it's just trying to fit in the end information. Just like the beginning, how it's
Yeah.
all info, the end is all info too. Like,
yeah. All right, so that's it for today, guys. Bye.
bye!